Hello everyone and welcome to Cooking with Love, and today we have a delicious seafood gumbo, Louisiana style. Today I'll be going step by step showing you how to make this delicious meal, which should take no time. Your prep time could be done in 2 stages. You can do it the day before or the day of. Guys, this is so delicious. Your entire family will love this. If you are a seafood lover, this is for you. So here we have some king crab, some lobster tails, along with some jumbo shrimp, some andouille sausage, and some swordfish. So guys, it's very important that you know that we're going to keep the shrimp shells, okay? Because we're going to create a broth with these. That's going to help build a better seafood taste. I just want to take a minute and just thank you guys for supporting my channel. And for those who are just coming on, welcome. Please hit that subscribe button and press that like and leave a comment, guys, because it's so important to know who your audience is. So here we have some ingredients that we're going to be adding to this gumbo. And in my description, you will see the instructions and ingredients, okay? So we have some aromatics that we're going to be using. Well, we want to start off by creating our roux, which is we're going to be using 1 cup of oil and 1 cup of flour. Typically, a roux is to thicken sauces. So you guys probably been making roux and didn't know y'all was making roux by making like smothered pork chops or chicken or anything smothered. You created that roux first, and then you created that sauce. So basically, what we're gonna do is we're gonna just kind of blend that flour into that oil, and what's gonna happen is it's gonna disappear and it's gonna sink to the bottom. When it's doing that, it's gonna start to darken. So we're gonna be going to our caramel stage of this roux, and it's going to have a very nutty flavor, but the longer you allow it to sit and darken, the thinner your base is going to be, okay? So this is the desired color that we're going for, which is a deep caramelized base. So we're going to remove this from this pan. We're going to put this in a heat-resistant dish, and we're going to set that aside. And the roux is going to start to separate as it cools. So that oil that floats to the top, you're going to try to skim that off and discard it, okay? You don't need that. So we're going to move on to our next step, which is creating our seafood stock, which I have here is 1 liter of our chicken broth. And we're going to begin pouring this into a sauce pot, and letting that come to a boil. So guys, remember those shrimp shells? We're going to begin adding those shrimp shells to this broth, which is going to give this broth beautiful flavor of seafood. I'm going to mix that in and allow that come to a simmer. These shrimp shells is going to give this broth so much great flavor. We're going to start adding in some ingredients, some garlic powder, and this has no sodium in it. We're also going to add some onion powder. And I'm going to be using approximately about 1 tablespoon of each. And I'm going to just add that into that broth. I'm going to also add some Obay seasoning. Now, be lightly on your seasoning, because layering your pot with your seasoning is going to only intensify at the end as it cools down. So just kind of be lightly on it. We're going to add some bay leaf and also some fresh thyme. So we're going to allow this come to a simmer. We're going to top this up, and we're just going to allow that to simmer for approximately at least 30 minutes before we start adding it to our roux, okay? So while we wait there, we're going to just add in our KingCrab. I'm going to just kind of speed this process up by adding it to a stock pot of boiling water that's seasoned with a little salt and bay leaf and Obay seasoning. So here I have a deep frying pan that's been pre-oiled on moderate heat, which I have some aromatics of some onions, green pepper, celery, and also some garlic, which I have 3 cloves of garlic minced. So I'm going to stir fry these until they're translucent, and then I'm begin discard it into a dish to set aside and begin adding our other components that gotta go into this gumbo. So here I'm gonna continue adding all of my ingredients through this pan to go to this stock pot. So as I remove the aromatics of the onions and green peppers, I'm gonna be adding in another component, which is my Andouille sausage, which I have sliced, and I'm gonna stir fry them to render the fat. And all these flavors are going to be going into this frying pan. So this is why I don't want to start off new on a pan and go to some, because the flavors are adding in layers. So here you see I have the Andouille sausage, which is a Cajun. It has a little heat to it, not too spicy, but it's really good for a gumbo. So I'm just gonna just kind of let the fat render from them, and then I'm gonna remove them as well. So guys, I hope you guys are enjoying this video, and hope you guys try this. If you haven't, tell me your take on how you make your gumbo. I'm eager to try this one for myself and to know what others have in mind. Okay, so I'm going to remove these sausages and put them in a pan. We're going to set it aside, and as we continue to layer, all these components are going to come together in harmony. So now I am going to add the okra, which I have washed and cut, and what I'm doing here is allowing it to kind of dry out some of that, slimy. Some people don't like that okra slime. I love it. I mean, it doesn't bother me, but I'm just going to kind of cut back on some of it so I can incorporate it into my stock and it be enjoyable for others. So, yeah, we're going to allow this to kind of like just kind of dry out. So many different ways of, this process. Some say you add a little vinegar, and as you soak it, and then you will, some people put in the oven. I'm putting mine on top of the stove, so I didn't add any vinegar to it. I just kind of like just fried it out, and it did well. So I removed that, and I did rinse out that pan from the okra. So I'm adding in my swordfish. I add just a little oil, and I'm also checking on my stock, my broth for my for the stock for the gumbo. So I'm gonna kind of just give these a little, like 3 minutes on each side. Keep flipping them. We don't want to overcook them, but we want to make sure that they are evenly cooked through. So we're gonna give them like a 3-minute fry on each side. I lightly seasoned them, and these definitely gonna go well with that gumbo, guys. So just so you know, these are not going inside the gumbo. This is going to be plated to your gumbo plate. So I'm just getting this portion out of the way so that we can focus on mixing that gumbo together. Okay, so yeah, we're gonna remove these and we're gonna set them aside until we're ready to plate them. So guys, as we remove these, we're gonna be moving on to our next step, which is our gumbo. And guys, this is gonna be great. I wish you guys have just as much pleasure putting this together as I am. Beginning putting our aromatics, which is our onions, green pepper, and celery, along with the Andouille sausage, into our stock pot of our choice, depending on how much you guys want to make, which is I have a great big pot, enough for about 3 days, honestly. I'm adding in that roux, okay, and I'm going to be mixing that in to those aromatics. I'm going to give that a good stir, and I'm going to begin allowing that to come to a simmer before I add in the stock, the seafood stock, okay, which smells delicious. This is so good, guys. You have no idea. Smells, the house smells so great. So here I'm going to be start removing the shrimp shells to show you that they must come out. So I have a strainer and I just put that on top of my stock pot, and I'm going to pour that stock into that strainer to remove all the items that I don't want to go into the stock pot, which is the shells and some seasoning of like the fresh thyme and those items of the bay leaf. And we're gonna just remove that. We're gonna begin stirring, and then we're gonna be adding 2 cans of stewed tomatoes. Okay, adding that to the stock, and we're gonna begin stirring this. And this is on like a medium high at this moment because we want this to come to a boil and begin cooking process, because this is gonna cook about 45 minutes to an hour, okay, before we simmer it down and then begin adding in our seafood of our crab, king crab. Okay, so here we have our lobster tail and our jumbo shrimp. Okay, and we're just gonna add those to this pot, and as we wait, we're just gonna give this a good stir. We're not gonna add the king crab yet. We're gonna give that some cooking time and let that cook at the end. We don't want that to kind of break up too much. Okay. Here I have some more dry seasoning with some onion powder, a little more Obay, a little more Creole, which is a little more spice. And like I said, you want to kind of do this season lightly, because you want to make sure these layers of seasoning don't overpower itself and become too salty. Depending on your palate, you want to just kind of monitor it and control it. Guys, it's very important to taste your food. This is how you know how much more seasoning you need. Here we have our deshelled cooked crab, king crab. And now we're going to begin adding that to our stock. Now, after we add this to your stock, you're pretty much cooked already. You can let it cook for another 5-10 minutes, and then you're done, because you don't want to overcook that crab meat. You don't want it to I don't want mine to be broke up where I can't find my meat. So I put that in last to show that, when I do take my portion out, I know exactly what I'm putting on my plate. So here we have our rice that we're going to be steaming as a process. We're going to wash our rice first. Okay, we're going to add that to a strainer. I'm going to rinse that until it becomes clear in the water. Okay, and here is our rice steamer that we're using that has a bottom boiler. Okay, and what I did was begin boiling my rice in another pot that I add a little salt to it, and I boil it on high, and I boiled that for approximately 20 minutes, 15-20 minutes tops on high. I didn't let the water go completely out of the pot, but to a point where it's half cooked. So if you know what half cooked look like, you will take that off the stove and now put that into the steamer here, and you're going to rinse that off, and then you're going to add water to the bottom boiler, which is like half of a pot of water, and put that top pot on top of the water, which is sitting inside. You can actually see it, and you're going to put that on medium heat, and top it up, and you're going to let that cook for another 20-30 minutes, no more, and it's finished. Okay, I know it sounds easy. It's not hard. It's just following step by step, which I think you will like the texture for the rice for the gumbo. So there's different ways of making rice. You can have the rice that's left into the pot, but I don't want a hard grain rice for the gumbo. I want not a soggy rice either. So the steaming of the rice is a better texture for this gravy that's going to be added on to the plate. So here I'm plating the gumbo, which I've set rice in the middle, and that's just a way of just preparing and serving. And we're gonna just add the gumbo around this rice, and you see the swordfish basically is set into the plate after it's been cooked and served, to be served. I'm sorry. And here we are. We have our Louisiana style gumbo, and I hope you guys love it. Press that like button. Please subscribe, and look forward to more videos of this kind and more. Thank you guys. See you soon. Here I have a special clip on the end which shows me eating, enjoying this meal along with the birthday reason. The reason for this dinner is celebrating my significant, his birthday. Happy birthday, babe. Enjoy it and wish you many, many more.